Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Knock at the Cabin, the latest M. Night Shyamalan film based on the book The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. And this is a very interesting movie to talk about because I have never in my life seen a movie that is so well constructed, so meticulously shot that I hated this much.
Yeah, I hate this movie.
Yeah, me too.
You know, and let's be very clear. It all comes down to the end.
Yeah, so
everything leading up to the end is great, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, fuck you.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely. So, needless to say, in order for us to actually get into the nitty-gritty of this movie, we're going to have to enter the spoiler section. So, before going to the spoiler section, things I will say about this movie. The acting's amazing. Like, fucking...
tour de force acting from everybody.
Fucking Bautista steals the goddamn
amazing.
Show.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Amazing. Watch this movie and just watch it for his performance. There are also a lot of other character actors in here that you'll recognize who are also, like, just doing the performance of their lives in a movie I hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a single, like, pressure cooker. It's almost entirely in the cabin. It's very well staged, very well constructed.
I should probably mention this. It is essentially a home invasion story in which these four people show up at this cabin that this family lives at and basically tells them that if they don't kill one of the family members.
Yeah, if they don't choose one of their own members to sacrifice.
Yes. The apocalypse will happen and everyone will die. Except for them, apparently. They will get to live out in the apocalypse, but the world will end. A home invasion movie with a biblical twist.
M. Night Shyamalan loves his Bible.
Yeah, well, what I find fascinating about this movie is that this reminds me a lot of movies like The Village in that it's gorgeously shot. The acting's great, even though the dialogue's a little stilted.
Yeah.
But the plot is just not good.
No. No.
I haven't read the book, but watching some people's videos where they compare and contrast what happens in the book and the movie, the original book has a much better story.
Oh, yeah.
And a much better ending, and everything about the book sounds actually like a good thing, not so much the movie.
That sounds like a movie we would have fucking loved, actually.
I would have loved that movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, Shyamalan decided to make changes, some of which seem to be to make it more palatable for audiences, and some of it comes down to Shyamalan's personal religion. If you've seen movies like Signs, you know that Shyamalan has a tendency to explore religion in a lot of his movies. And as someone who's not particularly religious myself, it often ruins the stories for me. Because he often will do things that kind of highlight why I hate Christianity.
Hey, it's okay, because Jesus killed
Joaquin Phoenix's wife
in order he could run into a guy who would remind him to use the baseball bat
to kill the aliens.
Or he could just splash water in their face, apparently. I don't know why we have this whole baseball plot.
Signs is the great example of this. The whole, like, idea that, like, oh, God did all this on purpose, killed your wife on purpose so that you may stop the alien invasion. I'm just like, well, God's a dick. Why didn't he just tell me?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck?
Yeah, we didn't need to, like, fucking go through all this.
Yeah.
Especially when we could have just sprayed water on them.
I do not find it uplifting that God decided to go this roundabout way that cost me my wife in order to save the world when he just could have, like, had the bat appear before me or like fall off the shelf on my feet.
Yeah,
you know?
like in a normal movie, that's what would have happened.
Like he just could have actually like given me a direct hint. Instead, he's like, "Nah, your wife's got to die for you to learn this." And it's like, "Fuck you, God."
Fuck
what
does that
that.
To do with anything?
God works in mysterious ways. My ass works in mysterious ways. Kiss my fucking ass.
Yeah.
And this movie has a lot of that problem.
Oh boy.
So, if you have any sort of religious trauma, in particular Christian religious trauma, this movie might rub you the wrong way the way it did us. If you've had any experience dealing with religious crazies, cult-like people, this movie's gonna hit you very close to home in the worst ways possible.
If you're in any way queer,
yeah,
you're gonna get really angry at this movie.
It's one of those,
I really mad.
I admire the book doesn't have this problem.
No, it doesn't.
But the movie has, oh, cool, it's a queer family in a context that you normally see a normal family. But Shyamalan didn't really take into account how different that story would be if you're doing it from a queer perspective.
Yeah, it's super fucking different.
Whereas the book did.
Yes.
From what I've gathered from what people have explained to me in the compare contrast videos.
Yeah. It's because I don't know if you've noticed this, but hardcore Christianity seems to have a problem with gay people.
So that kind of makes the way this movie plays out extremely gross, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So with all that said, Knock at the Cabin, it's currently available in theaters and video on demand. I'll include links to it, whatever. Go check it out if you want. But we are going to move on to the spoilers so we can talk about why we hate this story.
Yeah. Acting is great. Don't blame any of the actors.
Acting is great. It looks great. It's edited really well. There's great tense moments in which characters you're actually fearing for their lives, but the way this story culminates kind of just shits all over everything.
Well, how to put it, I don't want to hear anyone saying that Stephen King can't end a story ever again.
Oh God, yeah.
Not after this.
Compared to this.
Yeah. This is fuck you.
So with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
Spoiler is this movie sucks.
Less of a spoiler at this point.
Yeah.
So basically, this story ultimately culminates in the apocalypse is real. There is a husband and husband couple, and one of them has to kill the other one in order for the world to live on. So by the end of the story, one of them chooses to sacrifice himself and lets the other one kill him. And we're supposed to think this is some sort of uplifting, happy ending. We're going to sit in the car and listen to this song that we all listen to.
Oh my God.
And I'm sitting there going
God.
No.
I'm sitting there going movie, I know you're not going to fucking try to put a happy face on this goddamn
That's
thing.
fucking bullshit. God forced you to kill your husband. Fuck God. The moral of this story is fuck God. I know this movie was trying to do a trolley problem kind of thing, but here's the thing. I don't mind a movie that does the trolley problem. There are plenty of stories that do. The Chernobyl miniseries has many instances of the trolley problem.
Oh God, yeah.
That were based on real things that happened. That's great because a trolley problem as a result of circumstance, something goes wrong and you really only have so much time to make a decision and something's going to happen either way. That's one thing. A trolley problem because a villain shows up and decides to test their hero or do something like that, or even not a hero, just a normal person like Jigsaw shows up and puts people through little trolley problems. That is wonderful. That is great. But when you try to tell a religious story, a pro-God religious story in which God is the person putting you through that trolley problem, but it's okay because now you understand the nature of sacrifice, fuck you. And fuck the trolley. Apparently, the way the book ends, instead of the couple killing one another, their daughter gets accidentally killed over the course of the story, and it doesn't count because they themselves did not kill their own daughter.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the story, the couple decide that if our daughter's death and everything that we've been through today does not count
as a sacrifice,
then fuck God. God is not worthy of this, and I'm not going to follow a God that does this. We are going to live out our lives together, remembering her and loving each other come what may. And that is an amazing ending to this story.
Yeah.
That is the ending I prefer. And the other part of this is the book is apparently a lot more ambiguous as to whether or not the apocalypse is actually happening.
The movie makes it very clear that a supernatural end of the world is happening.
Like for example, in both the book and the movie, there's a point in which planes start falling from the sky. But in the book, 7 planes fall from the sky in the news report that they're shown. In the movie, it's hundreds of planes.
Yeah, it's 700.
And there's a huge difference between your evidence of this being real being only 7 planes fell from the sky and hundreds of planes fell from the sky. There's a little bit more ambiguity in that. The book is ultimately a story about not following blindly. This movie is the opposite.
This movie, you can't tell that story and have God be the right answer.
There's a point even at the end of this where they go to like this gas station and there's like all these news reports showing like the death toll and like, oh, thank God it's over or whatever. So I know you're supposed to be watching that and you're supposed to go like, oh, look, it's a good thing. All these people live because your husband's dead. Isn't that good? You did a good thing. But all I'm sitting there going is like, oh, now you're punishing him by showing him the death toll because he didn't do it fast enough? Fuck you, movie.
You. Yeah, like, fuck this whole thing.
Fuck you.
And they try to make it like, but you'll go on in the future and have a beautiful life with your daughter and blah, blah, blah. Oh, come on.
Fuck that.
At what point do you not just end up in a loony bin over this shit?
Yeah. This movie highlights a lot of my fundamental problems with a lot of like Christian teachings.
Yeah.
Like they give you these parables and these stories that all basically come down to God being a piece of shit and you having to take from it like, but it's okay because God works in mysterious ways. I hate that.
Well, there's like, okay, the show definitely like jumped the shark, but like there's this great episode of American Gods where all of the black gods are in a church.
Yeah.
And they're having this argument over an old dying woman and her granddaughter. And the granddaughter's like, I feel like I've been putting on by Job. And Sheba goes, Job was a rich man. Was your grandmother rich? It's like, no, I don't think so. Well, then why did your God need her to sacrifice anything? She had nothing.
Yeah.
She had only the family, and you're expected to sacrifice that?
Yeah.
Look at Jesus. Look at that man up there on that cross. Why is he there? And she's like, oh, he died for our sins. No! He's there because the people in power killed him because he wouldn't bow down. And I'm like,
fair enough.
That's it. There it is. There's the ugly truth.
It's like you're putting this couple through this,
You're asking them to sacrifice love itself.
Yeah.
To prove what?
That's the other side of the story that I really despise about this. Because at the end of the day, my question is, okay, how does them deciding to do this judge anything about humanity?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, humanity is willing to throw away their loved ones if it means a greater good. That's the judgment.
That's the judgment. Yeah,
if you give them no other choice, that's the test.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. No, at that point, no, creation deserves to fucking crumble at that point.
At least the Saw movies understood that Jigsaw is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Hell, man.
And the other part of this is that, the movie tries to touch upon it, but I think it does it really poorly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is it tries to touch upon the fact that, okay, so God, the Christian God up there, is asking this queer couple to sacrifice their love for humanity. This Christian God whose followers hate these queer people.
Yeah.
Whose followers put these queer people through conversion therapy. Whose followers bash these queer people.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to sacrifice their love for God, and then the movie ultimately chooses, yes, they should. Fuck you.
Fuck you. What are you talking about?
God, I know there's a lot of people that love this movie, but holy shit, do I hate it.
Oh, God, no. This movie's bad. This movie is insulting.
And finding out what changed from the book just makes me more mad because I'm like, wait, there was actually a good story here.
You could have just straight up done the book and it would have been fine because a story like this either actually needs a fuck you God ending or a very ambiguous one.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he changed it because of religious convictions or what, but he was clearly the wrong person to adapt this movie. To adapt this story.
I've read somewhere that one of the screenwriters that worked with him thought that this was a more uplifting ending than the original one. And I'm like, what are you talking
kiss
about?
My ass.
The original ending is two people deciding in the face of everything to love each other eternally and to live on. That is a super uplifting ending in the face of the apocalypse or the potential apocalypse.
It reminds me of the rewrite of the horrible Martyrs remake.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, oh, well, we can't do that. Dude, this is the whole point of the fucking story.
God, the Martyrs remake was so bad.
Oh, I have a very short list of movies that I hate.
Yeah.
The Martyrs remake is on it. absolutely is on it. And so is this. This is trying to be a Twilight Zone episode and failing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of a Twilight Zone episode, it either would have actually have been uplifting.
Yeah.
Or it would have been, no, we're not going to do this. And then like the angel comes down and goes like, yeah, that was the right answer.
Yeah.
The right answer. This is the right answer the whole time.
I entered this movie already an atheist.
Yeah.
I exited the movie anti-theist. Movie, you provided an argument for me to just straight up be anti-religion.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, because like it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, we don't want to hurt religious people's feelings. Like, why not? Hey, we're going to put a gay couple at the center of this. That's great for attention standpoint because they have very little reason to do anything because Christians tell them to.
That's the other part about this movie that I found a little gross.
It's super gross.
The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is basically what the 4 people are. First off, it does this weird thing, and I don't know if the book does this too, where they're not war, pestilence, and famine. They're actually like
malice, nurturing, health, and guidance.
That's not the 4
That's
horsemen.
not the 4 horsemen of the fucking apocalypse.
You're telling me this is a universe in which there is a mean, evil god that is straight up doing this shit, but his 4 horsemen are nicer? Like,
yeah, well, like that also made no fucking sense.
But here's the part that I found super gross about this. These people are basically QAnoners.
Yeah.
Religious fanatics and have been spending a lot of time on message boards doomsaying JFK is going to be resurrected. They're basically those types of people, but the movie argues that they're correct. What if those people were right?
Wow.
Just super wow.
It's this. How is Satan the bad guy in this equation?
It was
like,
that feeling where I was just like, if this movie doesn't end with him going home and immediately burning a Bible, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because fuck this. Who fucking changed what the 4 horsemen fucking meant? Dude, you can't tell me that fucking death is guidance.
Yeah.
What?
The fuck is that?
The fuck is that all about? No, but the character Bautista's playing is supposed to be death. The irony of his situation is that he's not a character that would normally be suited for that.
Well, that's the thing. That's the part of the movie, and I know it got it from the books, that it really works. Having Dave Bautista, who's this big, intimidating guy, play this version of death that is actually just a preschool teacher, and he's actually this really nice, kind guy, and he doesn't want to do this. That part works really well. Unfortunate the way this whole story turns out.
Yeah. Famine is actually a chef. Pestilence is actually a doctor. You know, War is apparently still an asshole.
Apparently, he's just a guy that checks on gas mains. I don't know what.
He's a guy that checks on gas mains and
vet.
bashes gay people. You know, like.
Well, that was the other part of the movie that I thought was weird. Was I'm like, okay, so they're the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but every time one of them dies, a plague is unleashed upon the world. But the plague doesn't seem to coordinate at all with what they are. I was like, war dies, and then like a flood happens. I'm like, okay, fine. Famine dies, and then a virus hits?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that have been pestilence?
Shouldn't that have been pestilence's thing? You know, like, the symbology falls apart.
Yeah, like, it's like even your symbology is weird. So... the long and short of it is, if you want to go watch a movie that is about God punishing a queer couple for no reason, and the movie not deciding that God should fuck off afterwards, then this is the movie for you.
Yeah.
But if you're like us, there are better movies you can go see right now. Cocaine Bears in theater right now. You can go see that instead. Any last final thoughts?
Oh, fuck this movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck this movie.
That's where I'm at. Sorry, Shyamalan. Didn't work for me.
No, absolutely not.
Where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch. I'm on Twitch, Count_Jackula. You can get me there and watch me bitch about all kinds of shit. You can also follow me on Twitter, the Hell Site, Counting Jack.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages, and remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month goes a long way. And if you made it this far into the vlog and you want to leave a comment below, and you should leave a comment below, be sure to do so using the hashtag #FuckGod. Use the hashtag #FuckGod.
Fuck God.
That way I know, that way Jack knows, that way the whole world knows you watched this vlog all the way through. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, if you enjoyed this extremely negative review, we are going to record one more negative review for another hyped up movie that we did not enjoy. And then hopefully we'll talk about Cocaine Bear next week or something. Until then, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.
Pull up a chair, deep in the crib, from a blood red chalice, you must take a sip. Sit right back for a flick, see gore and entrails and slimy in. Welcome, you gorehound, the beating, dripping ooze. Welcome to the lair of the horror guru. Watch real close.